San Diego still recovering after Monday's severe flooding.
Mayor Todd Gloria is joining us now to talk about the city's efforts. Mr. Mayor, good morning, and it's always good to see you here.
Good morning.
About 45 minutes ago, we met one of the families standing inside of their home. 2 kids lost everything. What do you say to these families? And you say it could be upwards of probably about 100 homes or so. Or more.
Yeah.
That in just one moment, one morning, their whole entire life just changed.
It's incomprehensible, Shali. I mean, I've been down in the neighborhood personally to witness this and talk to some of these residents, and it's just impossible to put yourself in their shoes of exactly as you say, wake up one morning and see it's raining outside, maybe go to work and then come back and find your home just absolutely destroyed. I think that what we want to say is our hearts go out to them. I ask San Diegans to rally around our fellow neighbors and support them. And what I would say to them is I'm doing absolutely everything I possibly can to make sure that we get every resource that's available to us at the local, state, and federal level to hopefully put their lives back together as quickly as possible, knowing that quickly is probably going to be measured in months, not days or weeks.
That's a little perspective there. That's a little bit jarring for these folks.
Yeah.
That same lady said, look, it's been 5 days, and there are still a lot of things that she doesn't know what she's going to do. They don't have the answers to everything. Most people don't. When you hear, and when people hear you say, well, you declared a state of emergency for the city very quickly. I think it was the next day even, or the day after.
Same day.
The same day. And then, sure enough, then the county, then the state, and then other local cities did the same. What does that mean to those folks who are living with, like, their houses are ruined and time just now is slowing down? We're like, oh my God. When that happens, how soon can we get this money? It's about timing at this point.
Well, for that individuals and for the residents down there, that money generally is going to come from the federal government, which is why we have an all-hands-on-deck effort asking every San Diegan impacted to go to the county's website or go to the city's website, sandiego.gov/storm, and fill out the questionnaire that's on there. We have to meet certain thresholds for losses and damages in order to get that designation. I've been on the phone with the Vice President, Kamala Harris. I've spoken to both of our U.S. Senators for California and our House delegation to make sure we're all rowing in the same direction. But we need that data. In terms of your question of how quickly, well, the local disaster declaration, which I issued that afternoon, the storm was about 10 o'clock in the morning, we had that in place, and so you saw the shelters open, you saw crews now working on overtime.
You knew right away this needs to happen. I mean, you were there seeing it.
No question. I mean, I was on the ground within a couple of hours and trying to make space for our responders to do their jobs. The governor followed suit shortly thereafter, et cetera. That federal designation will help. The FEMA and Small Business Assistance Administration can come in and provide some assistance. In the meantime, in addition to this recovery and cleanup that's going on in those communities, we're working back at City Hall to figure out every way possible to make life easier for these folks, recognizing that nothing is going to make it the way it was, but everything from hope to announce today a grant program for small businesses in the neighborhoods that are affected, to working with our permitting department to make sure that we waive fees associated with permits for rebuilding. We want to make it as easy as possible for these people to put their lives back together.
It's clearly important that the focus right now is on recovery and helping these families. But we know, Mayor, that there are a lot of conversations on the side happening of like, how did this happen to begin with? I mean, we had the hurricane several months ago and all this, oh my goodness, there's a hurricane coming to San Diego. We've never seen anything like this before. But there are a lot of people saying, wait a minute, we should have been able to see that if there's going to be any type of rain like this in flood-prone areas, that this type of damage could happen. When does that conversation start to begin where you reflect to see what could have been done?
Well, we will definitely do it after action. Right now, all of our effort is in cleanup. We have crews out there removing debris. Over 1,000 tons of debris we've already removed from the area, and more to come. We'll continue that work until the roads are passable, until the public health is protected. To your question about looking backward, I want to point out the National Weather Service didn't predict this. That's who we go to know and anticipate. We knew storm was coming. Every protocol we put in place for the tropical storm that came through last year, we did for this one. We had storm patrol out, we had folks prepared, people working overtime to make sure that areas of most concern are there. But Shali, in this particular case, this is like basically taking a 5-gallon bucket and pouring it into a wine glass. There was no way that we could have done anything in preparation to prevent this from happening because it was so much water in a concentrated period of time.
And I know Todd Snyder, who works with the city with this kind of, this is all he's handling this right now. When you mentioned the 5-gallon bucket into a lot of the questions were, well, why don't we buy a bigger glass of wine?
Yeah.
Right? It's not as easy as that, though, is it?
No.
That takes re-engineering of neighborhoods and everything else.
Well, maybe combining the two comments, I think that this should explain to people why stormwater is important.
Yep.
Oftentimes I'm asked and on this show about roads, potholes, things of that nature. Rarely am I asked about stormwater, but you may know we recently performed an analysis that showed that while our roads need a lot of work, our stormwater system needs a lot more. The question, Raul, is that in a changing climate, right? We didn't have this in San Diego. We're not used to it. Normally we have droughts, right? But we've had a tropical storm and now this. How do we size our infrastructure to match what our lives are going to look like in a world where the climate is changing? Last week, I was at the U.S. Conference of Mayors talking with 400 mayors from all across this country. All of us are dealing with some level of abnormal weather, things that we've never seen before, or things that are just in more extreme. So yes, you may have snow in Lansing, Michigan, but the storm is coming more frequently and more fiercely than they've ever experienced. They're having to change their game. We're going to have to change ours.
Can we talk to some of those families who could be watching right now and they really don't know where they're supposed to go, where they're supposed to get food, where they're supposed to live? Is there a place to call? Is there someone to talk to? Is there a website to log on to start the basics to be able to rebuild?
Yes, sandiego.gov/storm. That is our city's official page where we have almost all of this information. We're updating it regularly. I would say the best thing that they could do is to get registered with the Red Cross, complete the county survey to help us get the federal relief going.
People are responding to that.
They absolutely are.
Something like that.
And I love it. For every one of your viewers, thank you for either, if you're affected, to doing that, or sharing with someone who you may know is affected. They're too busy cleaning out their houses and trying to get their lives together. Help them get back on their feet. But go to the sandiego.gov/storm, fill out that questionnaire, register with the Red Cross, and keep the eye on news stations like this one as we put out more information on ways people can get assistance.
Talk to me about flood channel maintenance and the flood control channels and how that works, because again, I mentioned earlier, there's a learning curve for a lot of people with a lot of this stuff. And I mentioned again, Todd Snyder, who runs the storm, like, well, what do you do? Now people know what that job entails and why it's so important. Explain flood channel maintenance, how often it's done, because people are frustrated and saying things like, one of the people we talked to, they haven't cleaned this in years. Yeah. You have. It's just, it's hard to kind of grasp what the work is that's being done when you see a bunch of brush in your backyard that they've been complaining about for years and years and years, and next thing you know, now you're flooded.
Well, this is very much like our water sewer pipes. You just take for granted, you turn on the tap and the water flows, right? In the case of stormwater channels, they're often sort of hidden in communities. People don't realize they're there, and sometimes they're actually confused when we out and do that work. Why are you disturbing that area? That's my backyard. No, that's a critical piece of public infrastructure. Well, we have tons of these drains all over the place. We have dozens of pump stations. These are out of sight, out of mind until something like this happens. We perform regular maintenance in all these areas. That's things like removing mattresses that people illegally dump into those spaces. Homeless encampments are increasingly in these spaces. We perform that maintenance and check these places frequently. And the capital projects that Todd Snyder, our director, was talking about the other day, often involves really reimagining. So what you used to see is channelization, like concrete channels. Increasingly we're going to need to widen those or to try and modify them so that they actually absorb the water rather than just channel it through. That's a problem with the area that was most impacted in southeastern San Diego. That's the end of the creek. You have all the water from upstream flying through that neighborhood. So it's not just what was dropped in that area, it's everything upstream on down. That's why we're gonna have to do some major re-engineering of that area, and that is expensive, and it can often be at the impact of existing property owners who are nearby.
That's a major, major job. The flood control channels, correct me if I'm wrong on this with the numbers, but it was mentioned in that news conference, like 200 flood channels in San Diego or something. And then, but budget-wise or whatever the reasoning, and you can speak more to this, only 4 get maintained a year. Is that accurate? And does that seem like, based on what's been happening with the rains and everything else, should we somehow up that to maybe more than just the 200 every year getting cleaned out and maintained properly?
So let me be clear that we perform maintenance throughout our system. So it's the constant responding to calls for service of the mattress, of the encampment, of the whatever's in there. That's work we do. In terms of the 4 projects a year, that's the more heavy engineering of these spaces that are very expensive and often very cumbersome. And again, maybe there's something here because as people are crying out for more of this work to be performed, first off, we need more resources, but we also need some relief. Well, we have to get approvals from multiple government agencies up and down from the state and federal government to get this stuff done. So part of why it's 4 is that it takes a really long time to get these approvals. And with the limited resources, where are we going to put them? We're going to put them where we can actually get something done. So to the extent that maybe an entrepreneurial legislator in Sacramento or in DC wants to provide us the relief that we need to get projects like this done faster, I would welcome that. That is a cost-free way to help us make more improvements in neighborhoods, not just in San Diego, but across the state and potentially across the country.
We would love to talk to you for longer, but we appreciate you coming in. I know it's been a very busy week and there's more work to be done. We'd love to talk to you again as soon as you can. Mr. Mayor, Pat Gloria, thank you.
We'll be
Thank
on
you.
this until this is done.
Yes, sir. Thank you.